Daniel, I saw you earlier in the break room. You were staring at your phone very intensely. Deep research for the show?
Actually, I spent 20 minutes looking at videos of people cleaning their carpets. I had a script to write, and suddenly industrial vacuuming felt very important.
The classic procrasticle. Procrasticicle. It's a mix of procrastination, an article, or task. It's my favorite new word for a bad habit.
We are masters of avoiding what matters. But why do we do it?
You know, Daniel, that carpet cleaning thing, it's funny, but it's also a bit of a trap, isn't it? We call it avoidance. Avoidance. It's like we're turning our backs on the one thing that actually needs our attention.
Exactly. And the weird thing is, the more I watched those carpets get clean, the more stressed I felt about my unwritten script. It's a heavy feeling, like a shadow following you around.
I've been there. Last month, I had to record a really difficult technical lesson. Instead of just picking up the microphone, I spent 3 days, 3 whole days, researching the perfect microphone settings. I read forums, I watched reviews, I even looked at microphones from the 1970s.
Did you buy one?
No, that's the point. I didn't need a new microphone. I just didn't want to start the hard work of recording. By the time I finally started, I had missed my original deadline and I was exhausted before I even spoke a word.
So you were stalling, like a car engine that makes a lot of noise but the wheels aren't turning.
Precisely. It's an exhausting way to live.
Let's pause for a second and check in with everyone listening. We've all been there. Yeah. Think about your morning so far. What was your version of Daniel's carpet cleaning video? What was that one small, productive feeling task you did today just to avoid the big, scary one? Just sit with that for a moment.
The first step is just catching yourself in the act.
Right. And the first exit is actually a lot smaller than people think. It's called the 2-minute rule.
The 2-minute rule. It sounds almost too simple to work, doesn't it? But that's exactly why it's so powerful.
It really is. The concept is that if a task takes less than 2 minutes, like hanging up your coat, washing a coffee mug, or replying to a quick text, you must do it immediately. No thinking. No, I'll do it later.
I started using this for my email inbox. I used to let emails pile up until I had a mountain of 50 messages. It felt overwhelming. Overwhelming. Like I was standing at the bottom of a giant cliff.
And let me guess, because it looked like a mountain, you just stayed at the bottom and watched more carpet videos?
Guilty. But now I tell myself, if I can reply in 60 seconds, I do it now. Suddenly the mountain is just a small pile of pebbles. It's about building momentum. momentum.
It's a great feeling. And hey, if you're finding this helpful, please take a second to like and subscribe. It's a small gesture that costs nothing, but it's a huge boost for our community and helps us reach more learners like you. Now, back to that word Daniel mentioned, momentum. It's like a snowball, right? At the top of the hill, the snowball is tiny. You have to give it a little push. But once it starts rolling, it gets bigger and faster all by itself.
Exactly. You aren't just cleaning a mug. You're telling your brain, I am a person who gets things done. It's a tiny win, but those wins add up.
Let's try something. I want you to look around you right now. If you're at your desk, look around. If you're driving or walking, just picture your workspace. Is there one thing, just one, that would take you less than 2 minutes to finish?
Maybe it's putting a book back on the shelf or deleting a spam email. If you can do it right now while you're listening to us, do it. We'll wait.
How does that feel? It's a micro reward for your brain. It's a little spark of energy.
Speaking of rewards, we have to give a quick shout out to one of our listeners, Carlos. He sent us a message saying he finally sent a scary job application email he'd been avoiding for weeks. High five, Carlos. That's a huge win.
Way to go, Carlos. That momentum is real.
The 2-minute rule handles the small stuff. But Emma, what about the big, scary projects that you can't finish in 2 minutes?
That's the heavy stuff. And for those, we have to change our diet. We have to eat a frog.
Yes, the famous frog. This is where things get a little more intense.
Let's talk about the frog on your plate.
This idea comes from a famous quote. If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning.
It's a gross image, isn't it? But the frog is that one task you dread, the one that makes your stomach feel a bit tight when you think about it.
For me, it's always the budget spreadsheets. I hate them. I used to leave them until Friday afternoon, which meant I spent the whole week worrying about them. It was like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere I went.
I'm the same with my recording schedule. I used to wait until I felt inspired. But inspiration is a fair weather friend. It's never there when you actually need to work.
Fair weather friend. That's a great idiom. It means someone who is only there when things are easy.
Exactly. So now I eat the frog. I record at 8 a.m. before I even have my second coffee. It's the hardest part of my day, but once it's done, the rest of the day feels like it's downhill. It's easy.
I tried a shortcut once to avoid a frog task. I was hiking and there was this incredibly steep hill. My frog. I thought I'll walk around the base of the mountain instead. I ended up lost in the woods for 5 hours.
So to avoid 20 minutes of climbing, you spent 5 hours being lost?
Precisely. That is what procrastination does. It makes the easy path much, much longer.
Let's do a focus reset here. Daniel, let's just stop for 3 seconds. Think about it. If you're listening and your mind started thinking about your lunch or your phone, come back to us. This is the question that matters. What is the frog on your plate today? Is it a difficult conversation? Is it a project at work?
Why does it feel so big in your mind? Is it really that hard? Or are you just making it scary by waiting?
It feels intimidating. INTIMIDAMITNG. But remember, a frog only gets bigger the longer you stare at it. You just have to swallow it whole.
And after you eat the frog, you need a system to keep that energy going. That's where we move from eating to sprinting.
Okay, so you've eaten your frog, you've done the hard part, but how do you stay in the zone without drifting back to those carpet cleaning videos?
This is where we talk about sprints. I used to think that to be productive, I had to sit at my desk for 5 hours straight. But after about 40 minutes, my brain would just turn into mush.
Turn to mush, I love that. It means your brain stops working clearly. And that's natural. We aren't robots. That's why I use the Pomodoro technique. It's like interval training for your mind.
Right. You set a timer for 25 minutes of deep work. No phone, no email, no distractions. And then you get a 5-minute break. It's a sprint, a short, fast run.
I actually have to build a phone fortress to make this work. If my phone is in the same room, I've already lost. I put it in a drawer, in the hallway, inside a box.
Inside a box? Emma, that's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Maybe, but it works because it removes the friction. Friction. Friction is just a fancy way of saying anything that makes it harder to start. Like having to hunt for your gym shoes? That's friction.
I had a Pomodoro fail last week. I did my 25 minutes of work, but then during my 5-minute break, I started scrolling on social media. 1 hour later, I was still on the couch.
Classic Daniel move. You forgot that the break is for your brain to rest, not to find more distractions.
Lesson learned. Now I use my 5 minutes to stretch or get a glass of water. It's a reset.
Let's check your environment right now. Think about your workspace or wherever you are trying to learn English. Is it a fortress for your focus, or is it full of traps? What is the biggest trap on your desk or in your pocket right now?
Is it the phone? Is it a messy desk? Take a second to identify it. You don't have to fix it this second, but you need to see it for what it is, a trap.
You're right. But honestly, Daniel, sometimes the biggest trap isn't the phone or the desk, it's our own heads.
Oh, definitely. We've covered a lot today. Eating frogs, building fortresses. But if you're still listening, stay with us for this last part.
Because this is the boss level. This is the thing that stops you before you even pick up a pen.
I'm talking about the perfectionism trap.
I'm the king of that. I'll sit for an hour staring at a blank screen just trying to find the perfect first sentence. It's painful.
It's actually a form of paralysis. Paralysis. You are so afraid of doing it wrong that you end up doing nothing at all.
Let's do another focus reset.
Let's change the energy here.
If you're listening, I want you to really hear this. Done is better than perfect. A messy start is better than no start at all.
I remember when I first started recording audio. I was so worried about my accent and my breathing that I would record the same sentence 20 times. I was paralyzed. Eventually, I realized that people don't want perfect. They want real.
Exactly. If you're waiting for the perfect time to study English or the perfect time to start that project, it's never coming. Tuesday at 2 p.m. with a headache and a noisy neighbor is as perfect as it's going to get.
So ask yourself, are you waiting for a perfect moment that doesn't exist? What if the messy start you're avoiding is actually the only way to get to the finish line?
It's about being consistent, doing it even when it's not perfect.
And that brings us to the best part, the feeling of finally being out of the waiting room.
We've talked about the frogs, the sprints, and the fortresses. But let's talk about why we do all of this. What is the actual prize at the end of the day?
Most people think the reward is just getting the work done, but it's more than that. It's about mental freedom. When you procrastinate, you aren't actually resting. You're just worrying with a phone in your hand.
That hits home. There's nothing more exhausting than relaxing while a deadline is screaming in the back of your mind. It's like trying to sleep in a room where a smoke alarm is going off.
Exactly. But imagine this. It's 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. You've eaten your frog, you've done your Pomodoro sprints, and your big project is finished. Not perfect, but finished. You close your laptop, you walk away, and your mind is actually quiet.
That is the major reward. We call it guilt-free rest. It's when you can sit on the couch and watch a movie, or even a carpet cleaning video, and feel absolutely no stress because you've earned it.
It's a total transformation. You go from being a victim of your schedule to being the boss of it.
So, Emma, I have a confession. I actually finished that script we were talking about at the beginning of the show.
No way! You did? Even after the carpet cleaning marathon?
I did. I used the 2-minute rule to just open the file. And then I ate the frog by writing the hardest scene first. And I have to say, I feel 5 kilograms lighter.
I'm so proud of you, Daniel. I'll believe you're fully cured when you delete those bookmarks, though.
One step at a time, Emma, one step at a time.
Before we sign off today, we want to leave you with one final thought. Close your eyes if you aren't driving or walking.
Think about future you. Think about yourself tonight at 8 p.m. If you decide to start your frog task right after this audio ends, how is that future you going to feel? Are they going to feel heavy and stressed? Or are they going to feel that quiet, peaceful freedom of a job well done? The choice is yours. The waiting room door is open. All you have to do is walk through it.
To wrap things up, in a nutshell, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start messy. Start small, but just start.
Well said. We'll be back next time with more ways to help you master your English and your life.
Until then, keep doing the work. You've got this.
Catch you in the next one.